This is one of those moments where the noise gets so loud that you're forced to confront an uncomfortable truth about the Eagles, about Jalen Hurts, and about the way this team is being talked about right now. Because the celebration is real and the criticism is real, and somehow both are colliding at the exact same time. And that collision is exactly what makes this so explosive. On one side, you've got the banners, the champagne, the back-to-back NFC East titles, the reigning Super Bowl champions doing something this division hasn't seen in 2 decades. And on the other side, you've got a former coach and a national voice essentially saying, slow down, don't get fooled, this isn't as clean or as dominant as it looks. And when you put those two things together, it creates a tension that people aren't comfortable with. Because how do you look at a quarterback who's hoisting division titles, who's talking about perspective and process and rare moments, and then in the same breath question whether what you're seeing will actually survive in January? That's the uncomfortable space we're in right now, and it's why the words being said about this Eagles team hit harder than usual. This isn't a bad team being criticized. This is a champion being dissected in real time. This is Jalen Hurts being praised for leadership and composure, while simultaneously being warned that what's happening up front could get him blown up when the games actually matter. And that's why this conversation has people fired up, because nobody likes hearing doubt when the confetti is still falling, but that doubt isn't coming from nowhere. It's coming from the film, from the trenches, from the plays where things stall, and from the reality that winning ugly in December doesn't always translate to winning clean in January. That's the hook, that's the tension, and that's why this story refuses to be simple. The Eagles just clinched the NFC East again, doing it in a division that hasn't seen a repeat champion in 20 years, doing it as reigning Super Bowl champions, and doing it with a win over Washington that on paper looked routine, but on the field told a much more complicated story. The game itself swung on moments that mattered, from Marcus Mariota scrambling and getting knocked into concussion protocol, to Josh Johnson coming in and throwing a back foot interception that flipped momentum, to a long, grinding drive capped by a touchdown pass to Dallas where the ball placement had to be perfect because there was literally only one spot it could go. Saquon Barkley churned out another 1,000-yard season, bulldozing through tacklers, spinning out of what should have been a dead play and turning it into a 48-yard run, and the Eagles built a lead that eventually carried them to a 29-18 win and another division crown. Jalen Hurts stood at the podium afterward talking about perspective, about how it's easy to focus on what's not working, how it's easy to get lost in the moments where things don't look right, but how winning back-to-back in this division is a huge accomplishment and a first step toward where they actually want to go. And if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a like, because this is where we cut through the noise and tell you what these moments really mean. Because right after the celebration came the questions, and right after the questions came the critique, and that's where the story really deepens. The expectations for this team aren't just to be good, they're to be in the Super Bowl and to win it, and that expectation changes the way every snap is evaluated. When someone like Rex Ryan looks at this Eagles team and says, there's a long-term problem up front, that's not a throwaway comment, that's a warning. He's not denying the wins, he's not dismissing the titles, he's saying look closer, look at the negative plays, look at the moments where Saquon is getting hit at the line of scrimmage, look at the quarterback run game where Jalen Hurts has good angles and still gets met immediately, and understand that those plays don't disappear against better teams. The criticism isn't about effort or heart, it's about sustainability. It's about the idea that pass protection hasn't been good enough, that the run game hasn't been consistently clean enough, and that when you're playing banged-up opponents or backup quarterbacks, you can get away with that. But when you're facing the best in the NFC in the postseason, those cracks get exposed. That's what makes this so controversial, because it forces Eagles fans to hold two truths at once. Yes, this team is winning. Yes, they are champions of the division again. Yes, Jalen Hurts is doing what leaders do by emphasizing process, unity, and collective joy. But also, yes, there are plays on tape that don't work against elite competition, and pretending otherwise doesn't make them disappear. Hurts himself keeps repeating the same phrases. Keep the main thing, take it a day at a time. Understand that these are rare times, and that consistency in approach is what's carried them for 5 years. That's not empty talk. That's a quarterback who understands the weight of expectations and the fragility of success. He talks about complementary football, about sequencing plays, about staying ahead of the sticks, about adjusting week to week. And that's all the language of someone who knows perfection isn't real and adaptability is everything. But when the discussion shifts to whether the offense has truly found its identity, the answers get more cautious. Finding ways to win isn't the same as imposing your will, and that distinction matters in January. The running game, opening up the passing game, the tempo choices early in games, the use of empty sets, all of it is framed as situational, as reactive, as part of an ongoing process rather than a finished product. And that's where the tension lives, because fans want certainty, and football rarely provides it. This Eagles team is right where it wants to be in the standings, but still searching for where it wants to be in execution. The division context only amplifies everything. This is the only division where every team has won a Super Bowl, a division defined by cycles of dominance and collapse, and for 20 straight years nobody could repeat as champion. Philly breaking that streak is historic, and it's why emotions are so high. It's also why the physicality of the Washington game, the flags, the ejections, the old hatred bubbling back up, felt like a reminder of what this division has always been. Winning it means something, and Hurts made that clear, not just for himself, but for teammates experiencing it for the first time. He talks about wanting everyone to feel that level of winning, about teams changing every year, about how not everyone gets to be part of moments like this. That's leadership, and that's real, but leadership doesn't shield you from critique, especially when you're the standard. The idea that the Eagles have runway to fix things before the playoffs is both comforting and dangerous. Comforting because there's time to get healthier, to clean up protection issues, to refine the run game. Dangerous because assuming it will all click on command ignores how thin the margins are. Rex Ryan's comments aren't about tearing down a champion, they're about reminding everyone how unforgiving the postseason is. You can beat the Raiders, you can beat a Washington team on its third quarterback, you can survive stretches where things look clunky, but when you're facing a complete team, those moments where Jalen Hurts gets hit at the line of scrimmage don't just stall drives, they end seasons. And that's why this narrative refuses to settle. Jalen Hurts is back in the sense that he's leading, winning, and stacking accomplishments, but the Super Bowl version of Jalen Hurts isn't defined by banners or division titles. It's defined by what happens when everything tightens and nothing comes easy. The Eagles are champions again, and they deserve the celebration, but the microscope is already out, and every snap from here on out will be judged against the ultimate standard they themselves set. That's the price of being on top. That's the weight Hurts carries when he talks about perspective, and that's why this story isn't just about clinching the NFC East. It's about whether the version of the Eagles we're seeing right now is strong enough, clean enough, and disciplined enough to survive what's coming next.